What's up everyone, VenomousStare back with another StarCraft 2 first-person VOD. This is a 2v2 I played a couple days ago, and it's going to serve as the backdrop for a basketball video I'm going to be doing today. It's double Zerg versus a Zerg Protoss team, and I'm playing with a barcode ally who wants to rush. And if you're not familiar with StarCraft 2, this is the quintessential Zerg rush that you often hear joked about. So, the topic for today is NBA related, and it's going to be about the Golden State Warriors. For years and years, the Golden State Warriors were considered the de facto best team in the West. They were the team that everybody and their mother assumed that not only was going to get the first seed in the Western Conference, but it was also assumed that they would make it all the way to the finals. Oftentimes to play the Cleveland Cavaliers, because the Cleveland Cavaliers had an easier path to the finals through their conference than Golden State did. It was just that Golden State was so much better. And as we know, LeBron James managed to suck out due to Draymond Green getting suspended, and he won one of those finals. And in many ways, that was a legacy-defining victory for LeBron, because LeBron had never won with Cleveland when he was young. He then went to Miami, got embarrassed by Dallas, and then had basically won a title over Oklahoma. And then, remember in the decision video, he said not one, not two, not three in relative to titles, and it looked like he was only going to win one. And then Ray Allen saved his ass by hitting that clutch corner three and sort of saving his legacy by solo winning that game against the Spurs. Because if you look at LeBron's legacy, if you examine it up to that point, it was pretty much nothing. You had the win versus an Oklahoma team that was very young and unproven and choked a lot. This was an Oklahoma team that had Westbrook ball hogging with Durant and then Harden on the bench. Huge waste of talent. So that was a huge series for LeBron to win. But this isn't a video about LeBron James and his legacy. This is about one of the most overrated Dick Road players in NBA history, Draymond Green. Now, if we look at Draymond Green, first of all, we have to look at who he played with. He played with Steph Curry, one of the most prolific, aggressive options in the entire NBA, a guy that changed the entire way that the game was played with the focus on the three-pointer. He also played with Klay Thompson, a top-tier sharpshooter that complemented Curry's style perfectly and is really considered one of the best three-point shooters ever, probably one of the best catch-and-shoot players ever as well. And then he played with the second best player in the entire fucking league for a few years of those title wins, Kevin Durant, who is just, of course, exceptional. And my issue with Draymond really has to do with the fact that he gets so much undeserved attention. When Golden State was good, the NBA was in a lull. It was a very boring, predictable sport to watch, where oftentimes what you saw was a league where everybody knew who was going to the finals before the season even started. You had year after year after year of people knowing it was going to be Cleveland versus Golden State, and those people were aware of the fact that Golden State was highly dominant and was probably going to win, especially when Kevin Durant joined. So frequently, the conversation wouldn't be about, the Trailblazers look solid, or Jokic on Denver looks good, or anything else as far as the West goes. It would just be about Golden State, because everyone sort of assumed Golden State was going to make it to the finals. And, the Eastern Conference, forget about it. There's no one worth a shit in there anyway. And everyone was just going to slurp King James anyway. So no one was talking about anyone from the East. So when it came to the West, what were they talking about? Golden State. So because they were good for 4 straight years, and the basketball season is 82 games long, what really happened was you had a bunch of quote-unquote experts that would try to just perpetually rehash the same conversation of why Golden State was good. And this led to a lot of Draymond Green slurping. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you've probably heard the phrase, Draymond Green's a glue guy. Probably 100 times if you listen to even a moderate amount of sports radio. And what is a glue guy? That's just sort of a fancy word to talk about someone who you can't really accurately define the qualities of, but at the same time you want to give him credit. And this was just endless. Draymond Green was a guy who couldn't control his temper, which is the literal only reason LeBron James won that title versus Golden State, because Draymond kicked him in the balls because he can't control himself, no impulse control. And then Draymond can't shoot a three. He plays pretty gritty defense. If you were to actually take an intellectually honest look at Draymond and say, what does Draymond do well? You would say, well, he's a good defender. He's a gritty defender. He gets in people's head and he's kind of annoying. That would be the sum of Draymond Green's talent. However, because the media is bored and wants to prattle on about basketball and you can only deep throat LeBron so many times in a day, you have to talk about Golden State because they're clearly the best team in the West. So what does that get you? It gets you 100 different talentless wastes of life prattling on about how Draymond Green's a glue guy. He's a glue guy. You know, everyone who said that was sniffing glue, okay? Because Draymond Green was never that good. In fact, he's an average fucking player. This is a guy who can really only do one thing, play defense and be a cunt, and you just hear mindless and endless slurping. And just like many other topics in the media, they just prattle on and say the same thing. They don't actually have anything creative. Rarely do you ever have the media have different takes as far as, well, I think Draymond's not that good. I think Draymond is only a good defensive player. I think he's very flawed. No. Everyone and their dog parroting the same narrative. Oh, he's a glue guy. Golden State won over 70 games. Well, Draymond, he's so good. You really can't underestimate what Draymond's doing on this team. He's a glue guy. Guess what? Now that Draymond isn't surrounded by 3 all-stars, three probably top 10 players in the whole fucking league, he's garbage. He's a joke. He gets butthurt and rage quits games like we saw tonight versus the Lakers, where LeBron didn't even bother playing. He showed up in a suit, looking dapper, too good to play. They call it load management. It's more like load guzzle management because that's just another lie. Similar to the, oh, he's a glue guy. That's just a media lie. He's not a glue guy. He's an average player who can play good defense on one of the best teams of all time. He's not shit. And we can see that now that his team has been hurt. Draymond is probably the most overrated player in the last decade. He can't shoot for shit. He can't control his own temper. He's really not good at all. He's a defense-only guy. And if you were dumb enough to believe that Draymond was actually all-star caliber, or that he was just as good as Steph Curry and Clay and KD, and if Draymond wasn't there, they wouldn't have been successful, you need to stop watching so much fucking Skip Bayless. Because Draymond is laughably overrated. He's not a glue guy. He's a glue sniffing guy. Don't fucking believe these corny narratives. The NBA is nothing but narratives.